Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Where we are is the 2024 Minneapolis Boat Show, and we're here today to help you understand and learn about some of the new products from Yamaha Marine. We've got some exciting stuff for you. I'm David Mealer. I'm the Technical Marketing Manager. I'm also a Master Technician with Yamaha, and I'm here today with Lucy Berg. She is the Product Specialist for this particular outboard and, in fact, our entire outboard line. So we're going to walk you through some of the features and benefits of this engine, tell you what's new coming up with Yamaha. Lucy?
Right, so before we get into the product, I want to remind our audience to like the video, right? Make sure you drop your comments in the comment box so we can address your questions. The way this is going to go down is we're going to go through the product today, and then we're going to do a Q&A session after we've gone through the product. So be sure to put your comments in. Want to also drive you to YamahaOutboards.com to see for yourself the specs, the images, and all the updates on the F350, which we're going to go over in a moment.
Right. And we'll be posting this video, I believe, right after we're done here. So for those of you who may come in a little bit late, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And let's talk a little bit about this show, the Minneapolis Boat Show. This is an amazing collection of aluminum and fiberglass, I got to tell you. This is amazing to see what they do here, the customer base that they have come in here. This is exciting. It's a selling show. If you happen to live anywhere near here, please come down and check the show out because the vibe here is pretty incredible.
Right, the vibe here is awesome. And I've also been asked by people in my social group, why a boat show in Minneapolis in the middle of January? State quiz, David. What is Minnesota known for?
It begins with 10,000. 10,000
lakes, folks. There's a lot of water out here. So, and it's a perfect time in the winter to kind of look forward to warmer weather, kind of preparing for when the weather breaks, and that's why the vibe is high. Everybody's excited to be here and think about the new product they're going to get put out on the water.
It's a short season. It's a short boating season, so you want to maximize it and take advantage of every moment you have out there. And Yamaha is a great way to do that. That reliability with Yamaha is what you want to have.
Right, so let's get to the star of the show, right?
Ta-da! Here it is, the Yamaha F350.
4.3-liter V6. It's here, and it's here to answer customer demand. Our customers told us, hey, yeah, you've got some great product. You got the 4.2-liter, got the XTO 450, but we need something in between. So this is an answer to that request. As we go through the specs today, you're going to hear us compare this outboard to the F300 and the XTO, not just because it's sandwiched in between, but right out of the gate, I want to let our audience know this F350 was built off of the 4.2. It starts as the framework. It's the bones of the new 4.3-liter F350. So as we go through the features and all the engineering specs and all the tailoring that our engineering team went to great stakes to put on this engine and make its own class, we hope that by the end of this you'll understand why this is the 350. And shout out to our Yamaha
Absolutely, a shout out to our engineers.
Hey, they said they're going to watch tonight. You guys did great, and now our audience is going to know exactly why it's so great. Right. So one of the other reasons we're going to compare our motors is because our offshore premium motors, we're starting to bring, as Yamaha, we're bringing our premium motor features down the product line. So the F350 is no exception. You're going to see some features from the XTO on this, as well as what's on the F300. Big point here. We'll get this out of the way right now. How much does it weigh?
629 pounds.
At 25-inch shaft, lightest in its class.
Absolutely.
We're
like
lightest
75
in our class.
pounds lighter than the competition.
Right.
So one of the big things, and one of the reasons why we started with the 4.2-liter. 4.2-liter came out in 2009, and it is an incredibly well-proven engine, loved all over the world. And so we use that as the basis to begin building this particular engine. But I guarantee you, everything else that's associated with this engine inside is different and engineered specifically for this engine, for the amount of power that we're able to create. And we're going to walk you through some of those things right now.
Let's start with the top. Let's go from the top down, David. So
let's do it.
Right off the bat, as we said, 4.2-liter base, but from there on, its own engine. So air coming in, let's talk intake. Right away, we're using the 81 millimeter electronic throttle valve. It's the same throttle valve that's used on the XTO. So we're bringing in the same amount of air into the intake that the XTO has. Goes from there into a surge tank. Tell us about the surge tank.
What the surge tank does is basically time the air so that when the intake valves open, as much air as possible rushes into that intake valve, gives it somewhat of a supercharging effect without the complication of a mechanical supercharger. So that's one of the features that they built into here, and those are 40% larger than the ones on the F300.
That's right, and want to make it clear, we mentioned supercharger. This is a naturally aspirated engine, so naturally aspirated engine. As I said, the vibe here is high, so you're going to hear some partying going on in the background,
sure like
right?
This now.
Just a reminder, while we have a pause with the music, like the video, drop your comments in. Make sure you go to YamahaOutboards.com, right? All right, so we were talking about intake. We go from the surge tanks. They're bigger, right? You go into the intake. We have larger intake and exhaust valves on this engine versus the 300. So we stepped up our valve diameter, okay? So the air comes in, and then what?
Engine is basically a giant air pump. So the more air you can bring in, okay, mix it with fuel, you compress it, you light it off, bam, and there you go. So there's a number of different ways that we do that. We talked about the larger air surge tanks, we talked about the intakes, we talked about the larger diameter valves and the extended reach with the larger cam lobes. You want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so we have a new camshaft profile. So for those of you who are techs out there, you might understand that the camshaft lobes look a little bit like an egg if you're looking at it from the profile. And so what our engineers have done is lengthen or make it taller, that lobe. So camshafts, they turn and they push down on the valve lifters that opens the valve. So what this means is our camshaft lobes are going to have more contact surface. They're going to be in contact with those valve lifters longer. So the valves are going to open for a longer period of time. That's intake and exhaust. Intake air in, exhaust fumes out.
That's right. They're also larger in diameter. So not only do they open farther for longer, there's more valve there to open, so you get more air in. Those camshaft lobes are also coated with called diamond-like carbon coating.
Our lifters, same as the XTO.
Which basically is a very low friction, very highly durable substance that helps the efficiency of the engine inside.
That's right. So we've covered all the intake, okay? We've got air coming in the engine. Let's talk about how we have combustion. Let's go to fuel. What's unique about this engine and the fuel?
Starting right off, nothing special about the fuel. It's 89 octane fuel.
Fair.
Okay?
That's fair. Okay.
Let's just do that right now.
Okay.
But basically, as you have more air in the combustion chamber, you want more fuel to go with it. So we have a new fuel injection mapping program on this engine with a longer fuel injection duration.
Correct.
Which actually sprays fuel longer to mix with that air. It gets lit off by iridium spark plugs, which we'll talk about in a minute, in order to provide that very efficient spark for complete combustion, maximum power.
Right. So as David has said, we've got air, fuel. Let's talk spark. Iridium spark plugs. Iridium spark plugs are a step up from your traditional spark plug. They're used on the XTO. They are a little pricier, but there's a reason for it. Why would we choose that, David?
Basically, they're known for their hardness. They're known for their efficiency and the durability of their spark, the intensity of their spark. So you get more efficiency out of the combustion process with an iridium plug.
Correct, and you can have some fuel savings too. They can be more economical with fuel consumption.
That's correct.
For the fuel usage during combustion.
Yep. I often say, buy more motor, use less of it. You'll get better gas mileage.
So moving down the block, right? We have a new crankshaft.
We do. The crankshaft inside this engine is new. It creates a longer stroke. That's actually where the additional displacement comes from, is the stroke in the engine. That's also what creates the higher compression. The 4.2 liter has 10.3 compression, 10.3 to 1.
Correct.
Whereas this one has 11.1 to 1.
Yep. And this crankshaft is made from a new alloy steel selected for its hardiness under heavy loads. So we've got a bunch of power coming off this. So of course our engineers are taking that into consideration. Part of the tailoring for the F350. So we've got air, we've got fuel, we've got spark, we've got a crankshaft. Let's talk about the cylinder sleeves.
Cylinder sleeves. In order to save weight on this engine, we started this back in 2009 with the 4.2, but using what's called a plasma fusion process. And that's actually not our exclusive process. It's used in locomotives, it's used in airplane engines, so you know it's durable. 30,000 feet is no place to figure out that your cylinder liners don't work. But nonetheless, what this does is it replaces the thick steel cylinder sleeves with a thin coating that's about the thickness of your fingernail, 60% harder than steel, and basically very low friction and very low weight. It increases the size, the interior size of the combustion chamber, of the cylinder, so you've got increased displacement, and that's actually where the 0.3 comes from.
Increased displacement without increased weight, right?
Yep.
So again, we've got block covered, I think, for the most part. Let's continue to
let's talk about up top.
Okay, we can talk charging. Let's talk charging because customers care about that. Or you know, so this is the same charging system on the F350 that is on the F300.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done is add a stator fan like the XTO and an exhaust port on the front side of the engine there, and it's going to pull the heat off from under the cowling, keep everything nice and cool. This simple design change, this intelligent design, has a significant impact in charging. Overall, the net available charging from idle all the way to 6,000 RPM is better with this F350 than the F300, particularly at lower RPMs. The idle and the trolling speeds, at trolling, the data we have is nearly
like
three times
right?
the available net charge at trolling over the F300. And so this is an answer to our customers' evolving needs. More current available for when they're at low speeds. And
that's exactly right. I mean, you look at these beautiful boats that they have around here, and you look at the electrical accessories that they have on board and the type of loads that they have. Where you want that available amperage going back into your battery is at low speed. And that's all achieved on this engine by simply cooling the stator down. The stator is the device that actually creates the electricity that is converted and then put into your batteries.
Again, same charging system on the F350 as the F300, just some intelligent design, some design tweaks. Nice job, Yamaha engineers. Hi again.
Yeah.
And as I'm, taking a little pause here, remember to like the event here. Make sure you share it. Right? Like it, drop your questions in the comments. We're going to take that after we go through the product. Okay, so we'll go through the questions. And for
those of you who tuned in late, that's Lucy Berg. She's the product specialist for Yamaha Outboards. I'm David Mueller. I'm technical marketing manager and also master technician with Yamaha.
Right. Make sure you go to YamahaOutboards.com also after this and make sure you've got all the updated imagery and the specs so you can kind of see it for yourself. Let's transition down now. We've got
going down.
Yeah. So, one other thing, size up oil cooler. I think that matters. Not everybody's going to be aware that this has an oil cooler, but that cools the oil.
The cooling.
But this is a bigger oil cooler on this engine, this outboard, versus the F300. Why would that be a big deal?
A couple of things about oil that not everybody is aware of. Not only is it lubrication, but it's also a coolant. It carries away heat. And it also carries away the combustion, the debris from combustion. And that's what the oil filter's for, is to trap that. So it actually helps. The more oil you have in an engine, the more efficient an engine can operate.
Absolutely. And you know what we forgot to tell them about? Your favorite topic, variable camshaft timing. So I will start it off because you have a great description of variable camshaft timing. I love it. I'll just start off by saying that's kind of a standard feature for our V6 engines, but it also goes down to our 2.8 inlines. But
V8s too.
So let's talk about what that is and why we have it.
Variable camshaft timing is simply a mechanical way of giving the engine the opportunity to take a deep breath when it's necessary. Athletes, when they get ready to perform, like lifting weights or something, you'll often hear them, take a deep breath. That's what you want your engine to do. You want that air to rush into the cylinder. You want fuel to rush into the cylinder. So sensors on the engine notice when the engine is not operating quickly, but the operator showers down on the throttle, automatically kicks the computer and says, hey, I could use a little help over here, and brings that extra charge of fuel and air into the engine.
So we want to make sure that we clarify that, because not everybody's a technician like we are. So with the variable camshaft timing, it's the only time we would start to have troubles under heavy load. What many audience members may not be aware of is throttling up on a boat is not the same thing as throttling a car or any kind of
Not even close.
So, you hit the throttle in your car, the car starts to go. With a boat, however, we have to overcome the significant drag that the water presents.
Yep.
So that can hold back the crankshaft from turning and moving the prop. So all the computer has to do is advance the timing so that we get to overcome that and plane up. So
Yep.
not exactly new technology, but we of course incorporate that because it's just smart to incorporate it, right?
Yeah, it's an efficiency thing.
Yeah.
It's basically using the ability of the engine to breathe easier, faster, so that it produces more acceleration down low and in the mid-range.
Right. Let's bring it down.
Okay.
We talked a lot about the block and what's under the cowling. Let's go down the drive shaft to the gear case. Now, the gear case, you'll notice, is the same footprint as the F300, and it is. I mean, it looks the same because
Same
it
case.
is. However, the internals are different. We have a more robust clutch dog in the internals. Why? Because we have more power coming off of that block, and we have to be able to grab it and have proper torque transfer back through the propeller so we can get up and go. So this gear case will technically fit on the F300, but they are not compatible because
That's right.
of that new more robust clutch dog.
Yep. Basically what you're doing is creating more surface area for the contact between the drive shaft and the propeller shaft in order to be able to transfer that power.
Let's talk about this little guy
thrust
right here.
enhancing reverse exhaust. This engine, you can see right up here, it's got digital electric steering on it, so it mates up perfectly with Hellmaster EX, which is one of our control systems. Another thing that we do here is this is actually quite a very simple system, but it's thrust enhancing reverse exhaust. And as the engine is sitting, say, at a slow speed, the water pressure that's on the back of the engine at the propeller is keeping the exhaust from wanting to exit through the propeller, and it exits above this anti-ventilation plate right here, where the exhaust can't get into the propeller. When exhaust gets into propellers, they don't work real well. So whether you're in forward, but specifically in reverse, it creates much better control if you're biting clean water, and that's all about what thrust enhancing reverse exhaust is about.
At lower RPMs, 2,500 or below, but as you said, particularly helpful in reverse. That's why we say thrust enhancing reverse exhaust. Right, okay. So we talked about digital steering, and we're going to go into our other products in just a moment. Want to make sure everyone is aware this is a digital motor, digital electric control, no mechanicals, just DEC, premium. It's premium. The three colors, the pearlescent white, which we have here.
Yep. We have traditional Yamaha gray, and we also have a new color. It's called classic white. It's kind of a creamier white color.
Right. We have 3 shaft lengths.
We do.
Go ahead.
25, 30, 35 inch. So it can be used on a number of different applications. You'll see it on multi-engine boats offshore, particularly here. You'll see it on large pontoon boats, multi-species boats. You'll see it on walleye boats. It's going to be on the back of a lot of different boats.
Agree. And because it's DEC, those of you who are familiar with Hellmaster, the optional rear prop light panel is available for this motor, so that the prop lights are a function, or they're part of the full maneuverability system for Hellmaster EX. Those engage to increase prop awareness, to let our customers know the prop could be spinning. That light can be done on the transom, 2 lights on the transom, or customers can elect to get the rear panel. So it's the same part number, same panel as the F300, so we didn't overcomplicate it.
And here at Yamaha Outboards, I can tell you we love to talk acronyms. So if we're talking about something that you don't understand, we'll do our best. Feel free to drop some questions in the chat.
That's fair.
I heard us say DEC, that stands for Digital Electric Control.
Yeah.
It simply means electric helm. Okay, sending ones and zeros up and down a wire to tell this motor to turn left or right.
Drive-by-wire steering.
That's right.
Right. in just a few moments, really, once we finish up talking about the product, okay? So make sure you drop those in. All right, let's keep going.
Oh, almost forgot about the propeller, the big iron down there below. We've come up, this is a Saltwater Series 2 propeller. We've had this out for a number of years. It's an excellent propeller. We've added a 24 and a 25-inch pitch, okay, specifically for the F350. We've also added a couple of other pitches, correct?
Correct. So again, as David was saying, it's not a new propeller. We are rounding out the pitch offerings again in answer to customer demand. But market research said our customers wanted different pitches. So what we're doing is by filling in the gaps, we have as Saltwater Series 2 propellers from 13 to 25 left and right hand in every 1-inch increment. And the new 24 and 25-inch pitch are made as a match for the F350.
Yep. The Saltwater Series propeller basically is very large in diameter. It's got very large blade surface area. It's designed to move big boats. It's designed to move a lot of water. And it's designed to be what they call subsurface. And that's the type of engine and applications that you're going to see this engine on. The different types of boats, large pontoon boats, the multi-species, and the walleye boats, offshore boats. So it's a perfect setup, perfect match.
Excellent explanation. I love your Saltwater Series 2 explanations. It's good. So we have a couple more things to mention, and then we'll move to questions, right?
Yep.
So we're also, we have a new side mount, or also known as a flush mount control, electric control for Helmmaster. So last year, you might remember, we introduced a black binnacle, digital electronic control binnacle trim kit for that, and we introduced a black joystick. So this year, to give our customers more options, we have a new black side mount. And this component is not any different in functionality, same buttons.
Yep.
Just different look. We're offering
Smart
that
look.
right.
Yeah.
It's sharp looking. So that's going to be available this spring. And while we're at it, the products we're mentioning today are available this spring, 2024. Okay.
Right.
The other control we have, the 704. Would you like to tell them about that?
704 mechanical control. It's what they call the binnacle. The binnacle control is basically up top, and it's got a locking handle on it now. So when you bring it back to neutral, it'll automatically lock there. So it's a convenience feature, and that's new for this year, 704 mechanical. What else we got? Oh, the bow thruster.
Yeah, I mean, that is in addition to our Helmmaster system. So last year, 2023, we introduced bow thruster. Bow thruster is meant to be a complement to Helmmaster EX. It's on new boats only. However, we're going to start to see it out in the market. So last year, we only had bow thruster for trips, twins and trips applications, okay? And we had one vendor, Vetus. This year, we're expanding the offerings and functionality. So we have singles through Quint for bow thruster availability. That's Vetus, and Sleipner now is an additional vendor we have. So the way bow thruster works, it works in concert with Helmmaster EX to kind of fine tune or tweak. We're working on making sure our customers have better confidence and more convenience, and that is what bow thruster is all about. So bow thruster can be used for joystick functionality, set point functions, and heading hold for autopilot as well.
Right.
What kind of product will we see bow thruster on, David?
Basically, you're going to see that on multi-engines boats, typically offshore type boats. Not so much in this market will you see bow thrusters. You may, but the unique thing about this, now this would be a super premium boat, but you could actually have a single engine boat with Helmmaster EX and a bow thruster and go sideways.
Right. So, I mean, we've covered our new products. We can transition to the questions now. We want to give you guys some time to talk to us. So we're ready for you.
Yeah. So for folks that have joined us a little late, could you guys highlight again a little bit on the weight, as well as the difference between the F300 and the F350 on the weight?
We would love to. Okay, so the question was, can we reiterate for the folks who just joined the weight attributes for the F350 and help everyone understand the differences between the F350 and the F300? Why don't you start with the weight, David?
The weight, 629 pounds. Why is that impressive? Because it's only 18 pounds heavier than the F300. That's amazing. When you take all of the technology that we talked about that's packed into this motor, it's really a totally different platform, and to have it only be 629 pounds, that's 75 pounds lighter than even the closest competitor.
Right.
and the highest power to weight ratio. So pretty amazing what our engineers did there. And thank you, engineers.
Hi, Yamaha.
Yeah, they're all in Japan watching right now. So.
But want to make this clear, we're lightest in our class.
Yep.
And what's the difference between the F350 and the F300? So we're breathing more, right? More efficient use of, we have a longer ejector duration, so more efficient use of that air. We have increased compression, a longer stroke, more displacement. A lot of our features
increased charging.
Yes.
More propellers.
A lot of our features that are you find standard on the XTO are on the F350. We have total tilt on this motor. We have drive-by-wire immediate steering, Hellmaster EX digital electronic control. So, but for those who just joined, the difference is, yes, we started with a 4.2 liter as the framework for the 4.3, but they kind of just took over from there and tailored the engineering for a new motor.
Yep.
Yeah,
what else you got?
Next question. Marty wants to know any improvement to the prop shaft to help prevent braking or shearing off.
Oh, good question, Marty. As far as the improvements to the prop shaft, we've got additional teeth on here. Basically, that the clutch dog and the prop shaft will each grip each other better because you have more teeth on there, and we'll spread out the torque load, and that's part of the durability. Yamaha, as you well know, is all about durability and reliability. So if it says Yamaha on it, that's job one, is to make sure that's taken care of. So when you build this much power into a power head, you want to make sure you have the ability to turn it into thrust.
We've also had some questions around MSRP and then again on the availability.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So late Q1 is availability. Late Q1 of 2024.
Right.
Check with your dealer on availability. MSRP we've seen published at a little over 40,000 for the 25 inch.
Mm-hmm.
Again, check with your dealer for the pricing, but that's where we stand right now.
And speaking of that, typically you're going to see this engine already mounted on the back of a boat, but they're also excellent for repower. And what makes them so nice is the bracket and the mounting holes, everything is exactly the same. So you can take off a 300, you can put a 350 on. So it's an excellent repower engine.
That's a great point, and the overall outline, the silhouette of the engine is not that different from the F300, so same mounting holes as he said. The cowling's a little different, it's a little taller, but overall we're not looking at that much change.
Yeah, it's just a little taller right here in the front.
Yeah.
And that's to make room for that cooling on the stator.
Right. What else we have?
Yeah, so Jake has a question. How does the gear case on the 350 compare to the gear case on the commercial F300D?
The commercial.
The gear case. Those are actually the same gear case on the commercial. Yep.
And then Daniel wants to know, what about the oil change system? Is it like the 450, or I'm sorry, the 425?
No,
it's not. It doesn't have the vacuum operated in water type oil change system on it.
same as the F300.
Right.
Okay, is this similar to the 4.2 platform, just with more stroke or bigger pistons and or valves?
No, and I'm glad we're reviewing this. So the 4.2 liter, yes, was the framework, but I mean we've got valves, we've got lifters, we've got a new camshaft, we've got a new crankshaft, we've got a new intake system. So no, I mean we've got a ton different about this.
More stroke in this engine, so higher compression.
Right.
A longer fuel duration,
Yes.
fuel injection duration, iridium spark plug. It's a different beast underneath here. It's all about power and torque.
Yeah, so Brian wants to know, can you use hydraulic steering?
No.
Can you? No.
Nope.
Digital electric steering is standard, and that's where you want to be. Incredibly responsive.
Okay, going through some more questions here. Bill Platt wants to know, will Yamaha be doing demos at the Miami Boat Show with the new 350?
Hi, Bill. Yes, we will. We will have the 350 in the water at the Miami International Boat Show coming up in February.
Yes, and come see us. We'll be out there.
Absolutely.
Okay, couple more questions here. The F350 looks to be based on the same block as the F300. Is that true? If so, where does it get an extra performance and power?
It is, I mean, yes, that's true. So, yes, we started with a 4.2 liter, but the engineers took it in a new direction after that.
Yep.
So, you know, performance, it's a beast.
The 4.2 came out in 2009, had some new technology at the time, things like plasma fusion. It was groundbreakingly light, and it has just been proven over and over and over in offshore environments and some really tough applications. Yes, we started with that block, but from there, okay, everything on the intake side and just so much different technology, things we've learned from the XTO, things we've learned from the 4.2 liter and its many, many years of service offshore are all incorporated into this engine to help it create that additional power.
And to drive that point home, what's the weight difference between the F350 and the F300, David?
Astoundingly, only 18 pounds. That was pretty amazing they were able to do that. This engine feels different. It drives different. It's just incredible. I really invite everybody to come down to Miami and check it out.
This would be a moment for the slow clap, right?
Also, too, we had a question from JD. What about fuel burn? Can you guys talk a little bit about the fuel burn on this motor?
We don't have testing data for that, but basically the way it's set up, it should be more efficient. I mean,
everything about this engine is set up for efficiency, and that's where it gets its extra power. Again, air, fuel, compression, spark, exhaust, all of those things are factored in to this engine.
right.
And then this model, can it be used for commercial?
Can it be used for commercial?
Correct.
Yes, it could be. It could be. It will have a different warranty on it than it will have a 3-year limited warranty for pleasure use and a 1-year limited warranty for commercial use.
Check with your dealer on the warranty just to make sure, but yes, there's no reason why this application could be used for commercial.
Okay, I think we're good, guys.
All right, folks, we are so glad you could join us tonight. Remember to like the video, share it, and YamahaOutboards.com.
That's Lucy Berg. I'm David Mueller. Thank you very much. We appreciate your business, and good night, good afternoon, good day, whatever it is where you might be.
Thanks, folks.